and we are on day 13 of Agile World. Whoop, whoop. Oh, 14.
Yeah. Do you want to start again?
Nah, we'll leave it.
Brilliant.
We're always real in this, aren't we? We
Wow.
had that discussion a couple of seconds ago. Right, yeah. Day 14. I can't even do the accent.
Well, it's interesting here, Bob.
How's it going? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm having an interesting time along the lines of the Chinese curse. No, it's just complexities upon complexities, I think, and I think sort of the content of our talk today will probably reveal that neither of us have had much time to go to anything, which is quite shocking for people involved in the festival. But it's the way of life, unfortunately. I think Sabrina works for a living, at least 3 jobs.
At least 3 jobs, yeah, very true. No, we're keeping everything churning in the background. We do go to stuff, but we try and keep, I think because we're so loud normally in day to day, we try and sit back. I said that the other day, didn't I? Back sometimes. It can't always, my face.
You speak for yourself. I'm quite shy and demure.
Rubbish.
Okay, look, that's the marketing. Okay, I like to use that line as my marketing because, you know, when I sit on the front row with a pile of eggs, it's not because I'm hungry.
You've had you have actually been working, you've been doing some stuff today. You picked up, what's it, a question?
Yeah, so someone in the Slack. So there is actually a community that goes with this festival that's on Slack. There's about 350 people in it, 370 people in it. There's a lot of people there, a lot of very silent people from time to time, but you know they pipe up when they got questions. So someone had this question today: was what events should they attend to learn about becoming an Agile coach? Because there's currently a Scrum Master. And of course, my answer wasn't a straightforward go to this, this, and this. I asked a question. Maybe I've been around politicians too long. But my question was, it depends on what kind of agile coaching you're talking about, because although they're not totally distinct, there is 2 trajectories within agile coaching. One is related to transformation and change, where you're involved with executives and facilitating their transformation work. And the other one is very much around supporting Scrum Masters, release train managers, and Scrum of Scrums, that kind of structure around delivery.
You've also got Agile coaches like myself, where they'll do a transformation, which I like to call top, bottom, left, and right, where you're working with the leadership team, you're working with management, you're working with the physical teams, and you're also coaching and training particular roles. You've also got Agile coaches that will do bespoke training, which actually fits within the actual business. So they first get an understanding how that business works, how the work comes in, how the work goes out, who the customer is, what the business is about, because not every business is the same. And then they will run coaching and training and do a bespoke framework. So yes, they will use Scrum, Kanban, all the multiple different frameworks you've got, but they will bespoke them to actually fit within the business. So there's multiple different types of Agile coaching, and most Agile coaches have the ability to do all of the above. And some Agile coaches only.
I'm going to challenge that because it's not to have a go at people in individually. It's the frame of reference Agile coach, because I don't think it's a very good one. So I've hired Agile coaches who say they're Agile coaches, whose CVs say they're Agile coaches, and had to fire with them within 6 weeks because they have no idea what they're doing. And you know, I think there's a great difference between someone who's come from a blue chip background, pure play consulting, who's adopted Agile and understands organizational constructs, and people who come purely from dev, who actually don't understand the interrelationship between departments and the power plays that go on in it. So I think that it's sad because you want those people to expand their knowledge and actually evolve, and some people have been able to do that, but other people actually are like, no, this is the way we're going to do it. And you're going, yeah, we're working in a gray area in transformation. You can't tell people what to do. You can show them the benefits that they gain from doing it, and give them some examples and help them to achieve those, but you can't tell people what to do. That's the Agile Zealot approach.
So I like the Agile coaches that also like to get down into the trenches, as I like to call it. So meet regularly. I love being a Scrum Master. So on occasion, I'll get the opportunity to either cover for a Scrum Master or actually physically be a Scrum Master. And I like that because at the end of the day, you could be a coach for multiple years, but things do change. So you need to get down into the trenches, keep yourself up to date. I've always made sure when I'm doing coaching and training, I won't coach and train people unless I've physically done the role. So I've done multiple different type of roles, multiple delivery type of roles. I've been an engineer, but you don't necessarily, I've got a technical background, but not actually highly I've actually come out of the technical side as much. I've got an understanding on how technologies and cloud and how all that kind of all links up together when it comes to architecture side and everything. But for me to physically code now, I wouldn't trust me at all. But I've got that understanding because it's within my background. So having a multi-background. A lot of Scrum Masters normally move into the next level to be Agile coaches because it's good. Experience is absolutely key. That's one thing, is gaining that experience, because you need to understand behaviors of people, team. There's sometimes a lot of people don't do that understanding of how people physically behave. I'm mixing up my words now.
No, it's the psychology. How do they evolve?
Psychology side. So understanding, why in a daily stand-up are the teams not being engaged, and it's not necessarily a problem with the daily stand-up. It's getting an understanding of what the teams are doing. Why, are the teams too busy on their phones? They've got their laptops in front of them, or not actually standing up, or too busy looking out the window. Why are they not engaged? It's understanding that behavior and understanding multiple skill sets. There's multiple things to do. I've said this multiple times, Doc. It's the best job in the world. Absolutely.
I think it gives you so much opportunity to learn. I think I always run transformations as though it's an agile team, because that's really important. If you can't drink the Kool-Aid, you shouldn't be making it available to other people. If you can't show how what you've done has been changed by your team members, and certainly the transformations I've done, my team members often school me in knowledge that I'd never had before, because that's the nature of a team. And I remember when I started on one of them, I was brought in as an Agile coach. And my first job was being a Scrum Master, and I'm fine with that. If you can't switch gears in Agile, you're probably in the wrong kind of area. If you have to be in charge, like a boss, Agile's really not for you, because you get found out pretty quick as well.
I love it. I do get the opportunity to switch gears. Sometimes there's been a lot of the companies I've been in, I've actually purposely kind of gone, do you know what? Can I have your team for a couple of days? Let me have a play. Let me have a go. And it's always good being able to do that, because everywhere is going to be different. It's a constant learning path. I don't even feel I'm an expert. I've been doing it for a number of years, and I'm still constantly learning. Every business, every person I speak to, I'm learning something new, either a different way to do something, or a different method, or something like that. It's constant learning. But the good thing about Agile20Reflect, there's lots.
So many facets.
That you go to upskill yourself. There's loads of events that can actually help you transition to that. And don't think you have to automatically be a Scrum Master to transition into an Agile coach. It helps to be able to facilitate, because you still facilitate as an Agile coach. But there's lots of different techniques, and there's loads of events on that. And we're going to go through some of the events that we would personally recommend as Agile coaches that would actually help you.
So before we go into that, what's your opinion of hackathons?
I love hackathons. I love hackathons because of, and this, I'm going to say it's really simplistically, okay? One, it gives the teams a break. Two, it allows the teams to work on something different, but I do believe hackathons should be some sort of benefit for the business. So it allows them to work on something different, it allows them to work with different people. There's multiple learning opportunities within the hackathon, and it's fun. It's fun. And also, it's a great environment to let some of those people that wouldn't normally get an opportunity to shine, to actually shine. And I love facilitating hackathons, but I also love watching the people around, because you will find certain people that you didn't really, notice that they had those abilities, because either they're quiet or they're shy, or that they're just used to doing what they're doing on a day to day. Taking them out that comfort zone, or actually getting them involved in a different team and go, right, what are you going to build? What is this going to be? Let's plan it. Seeing that different side of those people. And it's nice for them to have fun and still get something at the end of it in a very small space of time, an achievement that would actually benefit. I do believe they should benefit the business, whatever they're producing.
So one of the interesting things is I've been involved with Hyper Island. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's based out in Stockholm, but it's also now all over the world. And one of the things they do is they get multidiscipline people in, so not necessarily software developers, people from all kinds of areas. And when they start off a project, they do a hackathon. Because what they want to do is expose ideas and not be constrained by what people think the business will allow. And when I've done hackathons with organizations, I've used them for planning, like for enterprise-wide planning. And you get in everyone, and you get like the CEO and the CFO sitting with the newest developer in a room together working on something, and they're usually genuinely shocked at how much depth of interest these people have in the business, and that the research they've done to be hired in the first place. And really, what you're doing is you're apart from opening internal dialogue, you're actually getting new ideas straight to the top straight away. And then I've also brought in marketing and other forms of design. So it's not, I don't really focus hackathons upon developers. I focus them on the problem that we're trying to solve. Who is involved in the problem, and that might be the lawyers. If we get a great idea come from marketing that dev know how to do, but the lawyers say no, then you failed.
One thing I normally do with business when I go in is the first thing I try and do is I get the chiefs, I get the directors, and I get the heads of, and I get them in with the teams. Because do you know what? Teams will be very surprised the abilities that leadership have. You get a CTO as an example. Most CTOs actually are extremely technical and may not have had the opportunity to actually get down and be a bit technical for a while, because they've been stuck doing their chief job in the meetings, arguing with people, working out budgets. And they actually find it quite exciting to actually show the teams that their ability and say, actually, yeah, I can code this up, or I understand this, or I've got an architecture background and everything like that. And it's actually nice for the teams, and it actually gives them belief in their leaders when they see them going, well, actually, you are technical, you do get this. I can speak to you in that language. But even other types of chiefs, getting them in within the teams once in a while. And you're right, with hackathons, you can get them to kind of go back to their roots of what they originally did and show the teams what their abilities are, but also for them to be impressed with the people in the teams that are working for them. So those teams can actually say, well, check me out, actually, I'm pretty good at what I do. I've got some really good ideas that would benefit you and the actual business. We're all normal people at the end of the day. It makes no difference how much money you make or what level you are. We're all human beings.
And we all have something to add. I mean, the other tool that I've used is when we get to impasse in dev, is I hold a design panel, and people are going, "What's the design panel?" I said, "Well, we get the designers in here and they explain the design." And they're going, "Well, we do the solutions." I'm going, "Well, let's find out why they've come up with this design rather than just changing it without context." Because you're all saying it's impossible, won't work. We've got problems with the back end, we've got problems with the front end, we've got coding problems, we've got delivery problems. Let's see what they're trying to achieve and see if there's another way to do it. So I brought in UX and graphic designers and actually had them explain their designs. Now, you would have thought this would happen anyway, but in lots of places that work is handed off, and the translation there is pretty poor. The clever UX person managed to say, "Well, how would you do it?" And they basically chopped up their screen designs and said, gave it over to them. How would you change it to make it work to give this outcome? And when they put it back together, they came up with the exact same idea. So that the thing then was to instead of working around a solution based around this is the basis that we start with and we can change it. Let's work around the solution of what we're trying to achieve. Now that we understand what bits are important and why, we can actually filter our solution to fit that. And I think that was very, that's one of my learnings from my servant leadership book. Still plugging away.
I get multiple different roles together to kind of explain what they do, because there's always that misunderstanding within businesses. Everyone seems to assume a dev is a dev. A dev is not a dev. There's multiple types of devs.
Oh,
getting them together and understand. There's some teams that I work with that they always have a problem with delivery, as an example. And if they're working in Scrum, they're struggling to complete the sprint. And sometimes you'll find it's because development basically do their bit, chuck it over the wall, give it to test, but they don't they just hand it to them. They don't think, hang on a minute, we're in a 2-week sprint cycle.
Yeah.
I decided to spend a week and a half on this, and I'm expecting them to be able to, and it's because they don't understand the actual work that's entailed. I like buddying them up together. I like saying, come on then, let's get a QA and dev to actually work together. Let's pair you guys up. Because pair program is not just for dev. You can have tests, you can have multiple. Let's get the architects in, let's get them all to pair up. And this is the reason why you're not able to, this is one of the reasons, there's always multiple.
So I'm a real fan of test-driven development, because it makes developers think very differently about what they code and what they solutionize. And also it means that they come back and say, we can't do this story, which is what they need to do. There are assumptions made around the structuring of work that are often wrong. Because the people who should have been in the room weren't. So someone's arbitrarily decided that this fits together and makes sense for the business or makes sense for technology. But when you try and build it, it's nigh on impossible. And by doing test-driven development, even if the ultimate testers are not part of the dev team, they have at least created a set of scenarios that the testers can utilize. And I think that's really helpful.
I've done it before where I've had devs and testers arguing with each other constantly. And it just commonly happens. We understand it. We're all very passionate about our jobs. And I like that passion. Being Sicilian, I love to see the passion. And I've done a bit of role play. And I've gone, right, you dev, now tester. You tester, now dev. Right, now work out this story. And they're like, well, no, I can't. And I went, talk to each other. But I said, but you're going to pretend to be a tester, a QA, and you're going to pretend to be a dev. How do you think it's going to be done? And how do you? And talk about it. And there's been a couple of times I've done it and it's gone smoothly. There's been a couple of times where they've just carried on arguing. It happens, not unnastily, but get them to role play, get them to stand in each other's shoes, because they'll work out at the end of the day, actually, do you know what? Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on you, mate. Now I'm getting it. All the work you need to do when it comes to when it comes to testing. And then they will understand and go, actually, when it comes to development, you're not just sat there with your headphones on writing code. You have to logically think about it, and you're doing it in multiple different. And then go, oh, actually, we respect and understand each other. Let's work together.
I think we've gone full circle back to hackathons, because that's why I like getting marketing people to work with developers, because they go, can we make that change there? And they're going, oh yeah, that's a couple of seconds. Can we make that change there? No, that's 3 weeks work.
I'll give you a quick story on this. Actually, I use this as an example in all my training. And this was asked me once when I was an engineer once, where we were demonstrating basically a front page, and I had the product owner turn around and say, yeah, we decided we wanted this ribbon to be lime green. Actually, we want it red. So it'll only take you like 30 seconds to do. Can you just change that? And I went, what do you mean just change that? They said, oh, take 30 seconds. Just quickly go off and do it and come back in a minute.
Paint it on.
Oh, no. Out of interest, what do you think I have to physically do, or we have to physically do to change that? And they went, well, isn't there just a colour toggle bar that you can just change it? Because you shouldn't expect them to think any different, because they don't do it for a living. But they literally did say to me, oh yeah, surely there's just a colour toggle bar. If you just move it to red, then it all changed to red. I was like, no, there's a lot of, and then, do you know, after that conversation, I actually made them sit down and watch what needed to be done. I said, look, we're not going to turn around and time box this, but I want you to sit down and actually and I'm going to do it in front of you and show you. And this is why one thing I always recommend in demonstrations, I always ask for the team to show a little bit of the back end system. Don't you show the pretty bit that they want to see and they understand perfect. Always show the back end system and show them some elements of it so they can understand how hard and difficult all these changes are and how they all do link up. Because then your customer or, you know, the other side of the team will understand that these things don't take 2 or 3 minutes or 30 seconds to the code. Also, the other example I give is the Matrix. The Matrix has made code look cool. So even if clue what it's actually saying, because of the film The Matrix, and there's a new one coming out soon, looking at code on the screen just looks cool. So
Yeah, that's binary and hexadecimal you're seeing. So that most people don't do that anymore. But yeah, it's a good idea to get clients to see the changes being made. And I think I didn't get the client to see this, but I once had a minor change to be made in a banking system. 9 months later, we made it. Because it had to go through pen testing, and it had multi-layer security systems on the server, and we had to test it from every angle possible. It's not these small changes, you know, it's they're afterthoughts often from badly defined requirements. And people say, oh, in Agile you don't have requirements. That's not true. You do have requirements, but they sit outside of the backlog. They're a higher level than the backlog. And it's much better to sit down with the clients or the business people, even before a product owner is specified, and say, you know, what is the boundary of what you want? Because actually, if you come up with a gotcha halfway through, we're going to have to throw away everything we've done till now in order to fulfill your real vision. So that's you know, that's really important. So that's the sort of RTE level um, of refinement and assurance, really. And a lot of people don't actually know what a release train engineer does, but that's a lot of what they do, dealing with the business to ensure that the higher level requirements before they become epics and stories actually don't derail later.
right, we should move on to the main.
I'm sorry.
We say we were going to go on this actually is actually given our personal recommendations and what we think. If you're looking at Agile coaching, or if you're a Scrum Master, you want to have a look at some of this stuff. These are some of the events that this is just our personal view of what we think that would be good for you to actually attend over the next coming weeks. And when I say coming weeks, keep updating with the calendar, because we've still got more events being added. What are we on now? Just under 800?
Just under 800, yeah. I think 774 last time I looked.
So I think one I've got here is business agility and operations. Now this is going to be on February the 16th, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. GMT time, responding to change using lean system thinking. That's one that I would personally recommend. Another one we've got here, which is on the 16th as well, which is 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Okay, I'm not very good with time zones. NZDT.
Sorry.
No. Okay,
I'm sure if people recognize it, they'll recognize it.
Have a look. It's called the New Scrum Guide, which we all know came out about a month or so ago. And what are the changes mean for Agile practitioners? Now that's an interesting one as well, because there have been some changes, some very interesting changes. But at least this is actually a session that actually goes through it. And it's actually from 5:30 to 7. It's a couple of hours. So that looks like an interesting one to go to. I'm even thinking of going to that one. There's another one I've got here is for Agile, no estimates, forecasting with less effort and more accuracy. Now this looks like quite an interesting one as well to go through. And that's on the 16th. Have you got a couple? I've got quite a few here actually. Oh,
yeah, so I've got one here in, I think it looks like Chile, from the flag, business agility, 7 to 8 p.m. on the 16th. There's a couple on the 17th to do with Agile Coaching,
yes.
I think is the actual description, which is kind of where we're looking. So Agile Coaching for the now and next, which I thought was quite interesting.
I've got this up here. You've actually got, this one's a pretty good one, because you've actually got 5 Agile coaches that are actually going to be going through this. That one looks like a good one.
I've definitely got to make a break for the Heart of Agile coffee corner. Yes. I just, you know, I feel kind of bad considering Karl was the first guest we had on this show, and I haven't been to one yet. So.
Oh, this is one I've got. explore the Agile Manifesto with Lego. So one thing you will learn as an Agile coach, and this is probably why we love our job. And just wait there 2 seconds, right? So as an Agile coach, things like this becomes part of your training gear. We play games. We play games in our training. Lego. I've got so much Lego that it got to the stage that every 3 or 4 months, I'd actually get a brand new set and then give it to my nephew. Obviously now with the situation we've had, I've had to bin it and burn it all. But, you know, we use a lot of Lego. We use balls. We use lots of toys and things like that as games, especially when it comes to coaching and training, to try and animate different scenarios. So this is going to be a good one. Lego is like your best friend.
I would also suggest anything to do with retrospectives or metrics, because although metrics are usually a weapon formed against you, they can be used to help work out what's going on. Now, so there's Agile Coaching for Performance that looks quite interesting, and then Chris Stone has got another Agile Manifesto retrospective. I really should go to this one. That's on the 17th, so that looks interesting.
They have been so popular. I've got Agile for Enterprises on the 20th of February, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Obviously, it's a different, where is it? This is a different time zone again, but still check it out. That's on the 20th. And the Agile Coaching Clinic, that is on the 20th as well. That's another good one to actually go to.
There's actually one here called Routes to Agile Coaching.
Perfect. Exactly.
And that's on the 17th. So there's a lot happening this week. I think this week's probably the most populous week of this festival in terms of events.
Yeah. I've got Agile Coach's Career Path. That's on the 20th.
Yeah.
Some of these I'm going to go to, because even though I've been an Agile coach for a few years now, there's still so much more that I can learn, even when it comes to sort of, you know, doing certain different things. I'm going to be attending these. Even if you are currently an Agile coach, still look at these, because you're going to learn things. And because obviously a lot of our you know, a lot of these events are worldwide, you know, they're doing things differently because businesses can be different.
So I think that's the other thing about being an Agile coach is it's driven from bits of knowledge from lots of places. So I always say to people, I got into Agile because Agile stole user stories from user experience, and I wanted to see what was being done with it. And I'm still a user experience practitioner, but I'm now also an Agile practitioner. And the funny thing was, UX stole them from marketing. So, you know, we cross-pollinate, we take things from different areas and we learn from them. And that's really what you need to be. You need to be sucking up all of the knowledge you possibly can so that you can reuse it.
100%. I've got another one here on the 21st. Path for Team Agility, Organizational Agility. That's a good one to actually go to as well. So that's on the 21st. Building a high performance center of Agile expertise. That's another one that looks really good. Ask an expert. Another one I pulled up, daily stand-up. I thought this was quite an interesting one to actually go through the daily stand-ups area. The human side of Agile. Now, I love the behavior side. I like the human side. I like that side of it. So this is going to be how to enable individuals and interactions through deep democracy. That sounds like a good one as well.
It's fascinating. And I think that a lot of people don't really understand how fundamentally different Agile is in its thinking process around people. In Agile, as a coach, we are the servants of the teams, not the ruler. It's the exact opposite of the current business structures, which is excellent because actually I've got 30 years worth of knowledge, and being that support to people is really the right role for me.
I just found one actually. I've just had another look at. There's another good one. A silent collective retro introspection on Agile's past and present future. And we've got our very own Dov He's actually running this one. And that is on the 24th. Getting close to the end there.
Yeah, we are. I think there's a lot of events covering this kind of area. It's a theme that we're all involved with. His new ways of working the human component, which is one I'm hosting on the 25th, because I think that was really interesting. It's driven from previous experience. I wanted to expose the lack of humanity in Agile. As you know, not in us, but in the desire to deliver Agile. It's a bit like a machine rolling over people, and actually the intrinsic value is the individual joined into a team, not a team rolling over the individuals. So
I've just picked up another one. Oh, was it The Challenges of Genuine Agile? That's on the 25th, UK time, GMTV, 3 to 4 o'clock. That looks quite interesting. That would be another helpful one. Oh, this one looks good. What is your Agile story?
That's actually a theme of the festival. What's your Agile story? So, which kind of neatly segues into the feedback form, which is actually an Agile story form.
Yeah, this is actually a different one. It's not the actual feedback form, but to remind everybody, every single day you will see a feedback form. If you get an opportunity, or please do fill in that form for us, because it's going to help us improve. We're getting to the end now. Just a quick.
So I'm going to plug my one. I'm only doing one by myself. Scaled organizational agility is the future of work. Bold statement.
No. What date is that?
26th. And it's a lunchtime. It's a 2 till 3:30.
That's not lunch. When do you take lunch?
When I feel like it.
You can't claim that's a lunchtime. Lunchtime is between like 12 and 2.
Obviously, you don't have an executive key. This is the siesta after lunch to recover from that bottle of claret you shouldn't have had. Yeah, so it's so organizational agility is something that comes out safe, but scaling it is the real problem. So I kind of investigate that a bit. It's an interest. It will be a talk. I'm still humming and hawing about whether not to do any slides, because I really hate slides. Having worked for Accenture, no one wants to ever see a PowerPoint ever again after working for Accenture.
Oh, don't. I'm a PowerPoint queen. I love PowerPoint. I live off the thing.
I'd normally do animations. I quite like animations, so maybe I'll do an animation, so if I can keep up with it.
But now I've got my pen kit, I'll be able to do drawings. My full boxes of pens. I will use every single one of them. Oh, and not forgetting, on the 28th, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. is our closing dance party.
Yay! Have you got your dance card? Have I got a space on there?
What for you to do? You get jiggy with it.
Yeah.
See what I can arrange on that one. And I think that's it. I'm just trying to think of, those are the ones I personally recommend at the moment. But tomorrow it could change, because there's constantly being new events actually being added. So just keep an eye on the actual calendar, have a look. I go through it daily to kind of see what I'm able to go to and what I'm not. But I'm also glad that, you know, it's been archived, because there are plenty I've not been able to, because of work commitments, that I'll be able to actually watch later.
And to all those people making that transition from Scrum Master to Agile Coach, we salute you. It's an interesting change, and it's someone was saying in one of the chats earlier that it's Agile is a journey, not a destination. So enjoy the journey, pick up as much knowledge as you can, and learn from people.
That was our chief pirate that actually said that. I read that one earlier.
Well, he nicked that from the book title I've got out.
You're plugging today.
Well, that's the book. That's the book I spoke to him about in October last year, and ended up being involved in this festival instead. So the Agile and Unexpected Journey, because actually Agile is a journey. I think it's one of those. Yeah.
I'm into as well.
Yeah, you're writing a chapter on it as well. So it's a book. It's a book of biographies by Agilists. And I'm not going to edit it. I'm going to let them have, in their own words, their own experience. But the point is that it's very easy to get into this thing that no one understands, no one has a similar experience, but actually a lot of people do. They won't have the same. Everyone is unique, but we have lots of commonalities, and hopefully people will be able to use it as a book to learn by the mistakes that we made.
Career change in 2013. I completely changed my career, and I've had the weirdest career ever, from going from call center to conference booking to PA to networks engineer to release manager to delivery manager to senior leadership manager to then Agile. I literally completely changed. It kind of linked up with my delivery background, but I completely swiveled and changed my career.
And I started as an instructional designer.
And you're a qualified teacher?
A qualified teacher, bunch of other things as well. So it's all a very, life is an interesting journey. I think the point is, and there are very few actual rules, just the ones that we allow to be imposed upon ourselves. And so Agile coaches, we salute you, and Scrum Masters, we salute you, because you've made that choice to do that kind of work, which is involved very much in people and in getting things done and making the world better.
Agile coaches, don't be scared, and make sure you always go back in the trenches. Okay? Yep. Whenever you get an opportunity, get back into those trenches, because you will learn things every single time you go back. Don't think I've been a Scrum Master for multiple years, I don't need to go back. You do. I'm telling you. Sabrina says, go back in the trenches whenever you can, because you will still learn something new going back.
And she's pointing at you, so everyone better listen.
That's what I'm pointing. I'm pointing. I haven't got my long nails at the moment. I'm pointing.
I don't know. They're coming out the screen at me. I'm like, it's like getting into my eye. Yeah.
I'm a bit aggressive. I do apologize. I'm not being aggressive.
I'm definitely not disagreeing with you on a Friday night in a pub.
No.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. Well, you were full of the spirit of champagne, I believe, when you did that. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not allowed to drink and go to Tesco's anymore. I'll tell you that now.
not until after the festival.
Not until after the festival. I have to behave myself. Right. I think that wraps it up for today.
Yep.
I hope you enjoyed this. It was a slightly different spice of Agile World, as we like to call it. But give us a shout, drop us a message, like we received a message earlier. If there's anything particular you want us to talk about other than just the events, drop us a message below. Thank you.
Yeah, and if we can't answer the questions, we'll find someone who is able to answer those questions. So that'd be great. Thank you.
Night, Karl.
Night.